I have never been more confused by a pop culture moment in my entire life.
So no shade to Jason Pargin. I love his account. And in that video, he is asking some really smart, clarifying questions about the Kendrick and Drake beef. However, in his video, he says, isn't this a beef about Kendrick accusing Drake of being not a great guy? And to characterize it as such is kind of like saying, isn't Star Wars a movie about spaceships? Like, yeah, but like you're missing the bigger picture. Anyone trying to understand the details of this beef, this video has got all your answers. 6 months ago, the music critic FD Signifier made a 3.5 hour long video explaining this beef. And it is so in depth that it starts off with, to really understand what's going on here, we got to go back to the mid-70s. So jump over to YouTube and watch that video if you really want the details. But kind of the short version is Kendrick Lamar has emerged as like the avatar, the stand-in for a authentic type of hip hop. Whereas Drake is seen right now as kind of the unauthentic, commercialized version of hip-hop, pop star hip-hop. It's a proxy war. Right now, Americans see Kendrick Lamar as a stand-in of a type of like wild culture, folk culture, whereas Drake stands in for like domesticated culture and kind of controlled pop culture. In the lyrics of the songs, Kendrick Lamar accuses Drake of being a PDF file, yes, but he constructs it in such a way where it could just be viewed as not a direct accusation of a material crime, but a generalized type of insult, trying to take Drake's manhood down a peg for making a big deal out of the fact that Drake tends to date younger women. Not underage women necessarily, but he publicly has dated younger women. It's kind of like calling a baby who's crying on an airplane a terrorist who's holding the entire plane hostage. Across all of Kendrick's diss tracks, there's a level of plausible deniability built into everything. Is Kendrick making a material accusation of a sex crime based off of evidence that only he has? Or is Kendrick pointing toward real behavior on Drake's part that feels sex crime adjacent as a way of taking him down a peg and trying to take away some of his clout in the public eye? So I would say to Jason Pargin, think about that little couplet that Kendrick Lamar wrote specifically for the Super Bowl that he recited before the beginning of the song Not Like Us. It's a cultural divide. I'm gonna get it on the floor. 40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than the music. They tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. It's not a statement about gentlemanly behavior or sexual ethics, right? All that being said, Pargin did make me think it is kind of fucked up. Kendrick, like, if Kendrick is just making up these imaginary victims and kind of using the real scourge of like sex crimes, especially amongst celebrities, as a way of getting like a cheap imaginary shot in at Drake, that is kind of shitty. But the enormity of this beef and the phenomenon of this song is going to overshadow any of that sort of like more deep, more nuanced thinking about the particulars of the aesthetic language that people are using to actually execute the beef.